I got to see when Vegas plays next.
Tomorrow, huh?
Wednesday against Colorado.
At home though.
He could be 2,500 at home.
He's gonna be 2,500.
Well, unless they fix it. Okay, but man, yeah. You got to give them the benefit of the doubt sometimes.
I did in like 2015 when they had Yori Laterra at 31.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever and wherever you're watching or listening. This is the Awesemo NHL DFS Strategy Show, and I'm your host, Michael Clifford, aka Slim Cliffy. And joining me for the next hour to talk off some of the food we ate yesterday, our single entry assassin, Mr. Joshua Harris. Josh, how you doing today, buddy?
Doing pretty well. Hit my Rams futures. That was exciting. I didn't watch a play of that game, so if you want to roast me about not watching it or not having cable, feel free to do so. Just real quick, I saw some comments in the chat about not being able to be left on the Friday's YouTube video. So what I'm going to do, because I've noticed that as well, if you already left a comment and it's there on YouTube for the giveaway, we're giving away 2 weekly passes for NHL for the NBA All-Star break. So what I'm going to do is after the show, I will make a tweet about it. I will pin it to my profile, and you can leave your comment there. And obviously, we'll know who you are because I'll have your Twitter handle. So after the show, I will make a post. I'll pin it to my profile. You can feel free, if you're having issues with the YouTube, to leave it on that tweet. Yeah. So, yeah, you guys can roast me for not having cable, not watching the football game. I did make some nachos, though. Did make some pretty killer nachos. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but I use ground beef, and if you want to make some salsa, make it with kiwi. I'm telling you, kiwi goes so good with ground beef. It sounds weird, but it's so good.
That does sound weird. Like I like kiwi. I'll eat kiwi. Like I'll honestly buy kiwi and just scoop it with a spoon. I've never heard of putting it in ground beef before. What's the thought process behind that?
Well, it's just like a kiwi salsa. Make it with onions, tomatoes, salt, pepper, lime juice, cilantro or parsley. I don't know.
I mean, it sounds like
acid
something
and fat.
It sounds like something.
It's like an acidic.
Yeah.
On acids and fats, it balances it very well.
Yeah, I would have never ever thought of using a kiwi in that regard. So, hey man, we learn something new every day, and I learned that the next time I eat ground pork more. Next time I make ground pork, maybe I'll throw in some kiwi. I can't wait for that. We are here to talk about hockey, though. Just want to give a special shout out to Yahoo Fantasy. Yahoo Fantasy has been our sponsor this entire season, and we have a special giveaway through Yahoo that we'll talk about a little bit later in the show for first-time Yahoo users. All right, let's talk about the weekend a little bit. How'd you do? We had Saturday, we had Sunday, we had an afternoon slate on Sunday. How'd you manage?
Yeah, man, I did really well this weekend. I don't remember what I did Saturday, but I definitely cashed despite Marner. Marner got the shot bonus at the end. But yesterday, I 3X'd, even though I used Buffalo 1 and I didn't use Skinner. I left him off, and he had 4 goals and an assist. But somehow I still got there. I used Craig Anderson like it was 2013. You know, it was a good little weekend. So hit the Rams future, cash some golf, cash some MMA. Heater, you know, I don't know. I had a pretty rough stretch there for a while, but I think things are turning around. So you got to, I think the thing that people make mistakes a lot with bankroll management is when they're going really well, they up the stakes for no reason. And then, you know, they hit a rough patch and they lose it all. Whenever I'm going poorly or whenever I'm running hotter than the sun, I play the same contest every day just to stay consistent. Because if you're like, oh, I won $4,000, I'm going to enter the 1,500 tonight. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, you got to stay within your limits, gamble. It's not really, I mean, it is gambling, but, do it responsibly, stay within your limits. Feel like the need to say that, because I see people make the mistakes that when they win big, they immediately go up in stakes and they, dump it all back. So, casual, slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good point. It's like you take down a contest for $5,000 or something like that. That doesn't mean you should max enter the $150, $15 every night, because you can wipe out everything you've wanted in about 3 days. So yeah, exactly right. Don't be in a rush to jump up your stakes, even if you do start winning. Make sure you do a nice, well, you don't have to do a nice slow build. Everybody's obviously welcome to do what they want, but I've definitely found that to be the best way to go. And I think a lot of people would definitely agree with that. You didn't watch the Super Bowl. I did. I made this mistake. I bet on the Rams. I bet on Cooper Kupp and the receiving prop on the over, but I didn't bet on Cooper Kupp to win MVP. So a little bit of a mistake on my part. Obviously he didn't hit the receiving prop either, but I would have done well if I had bet him for MVP. I just
Twitter
didn't.
was pretty upset about that. Everyone wanted Aaron Donald to win the MVP. I didn't watch the game, so
I thought Aaron Donald was going to get it because he had a couple big plays in the fourth quarter, including one late to stuff a run, I think it was a third down or a fourth down or something like that. All the rumors about him perhaps retiring, it might be his last game and all that. I thought it was going to be him as well, but I thought it was a good game. I know some people complain that maybe it was slow or not enough scoring and all that, but there's some tension, some drama, went down to the wire. Can't really complain about that. Some big hockey news today. I'm wearing my Montreal Canadiens jersey a little bit in mourning. Montreal Canadiens traded Tyler Toffoli to Calgary for a first-round pick, a fifth-round pick, Tyler Pitlick, and a B prospect. I'm pretty furious about this. It's not that they shouldn't have traded Toffoli. Obviously, they have to rebuild and all that. This team isn't going to make the playoffs this year, and they're not going to make it next year. They got to get their feet back under them. It's not that they have to hold Toffoli or anything like that. What's the rush of trading him today for what doesn't really look like a great return? Like Tyler Pitlick is nothing. The fifth round pick is a late draft pick. That's nearly nothing. So it's really the first plus the B prospect, and it's a late first round pick. So you're getting a late first round pick and a B prospect for a first line 30 goal scorer who signed for 2 more years at 4.25 a season. I don't know. To me, it seems like Calgary really made out well here. And I think that's the big takeaway is that, now you're going to have one of, Mangiapane or Coleman down on the third line for the Flames. They're going to have a pretty good top 9. They say they're still shopping for a defenseman. I went out and bet the Flames Cup futures immediately. What do you think about Calgary's future?
Yeah, I did too. I bet the 25. Mr. G, our boy Saul Goodman, let us know they're going off at 25-1 on FanDuel Sportsbook, and I think it's like 30-1 on Win Sportsbook if you have it. So yeah, after I settled in after overreacting to every trade like every person always does, it kind of felt like this deal, like if Toffoli got traded like 3 minutes before the deadline, it would have been like, okay, I kind of get it. But like today at noon, like you should have got a better return. I'm surprised, because he's on a very, very manageable contract. So even if you're going to get Tyler Pitlick and the B prospect, probably could have got better picks. But, I would assume now, the Canadians are going to go full fire sale. We'll see what happens. Coyotes will probably trade for Shea Weber's contract because they love dead contracts. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, Montreal's almost assuredly, they said they're not interested in trading Josh Anderson, but I bet they would trade Josh Anderson. Obviously, Ben Sherratt's going to be on his way out. I saw somebody joke earlier. I don't even know if it's a joke. Ben Sherratt might actually get more in a trade than Tyler Toffoli just got. When you consider what David Savard got last year, a first and a third round pick, Ben Sherratt probably could get close to the same. I think it was a big misstep by the Montreal Canadiens.
I just feel like if that's the going price for a top 6 winger, like Rangers, get on the horn, man. Go find your Clayton Kellers. Go find your JT Millers. Go find your Arturi Lekkonens, man.
That's I'm just wondering what's the hold up on JT Miller now. I know he's a center and Toffoli's a winger, but they're both first liners. Miller only has 1 more year, not 2. Like, if it's all it's going to take is a late first pick and a B prospect, what's taking so long to get this done? Maybe throw in another second rounder or something.
Oh man, they Canadians set the mark. Good job, Jeff Thornton.
So it's a little bit frustrating as a Habs fan. Hopefully this all works out. We'll see what happens. I see about 75 people in our chat right now. If you guys could, please throw us a thumbs up. Those likes really help us. The subscriptions really help us a lot. So click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're growing this channel. We keep these shows coming pretty much on a daily basis, whether it's NHL, whether it's NBA, PGA, MMA. I know NFL is done, but hopefully we'll get MLB back here in a couple weeks, or a couple months, sorry, not a couple weeks. So lots going on. Be sure you click that subscribe button and click the notification button so you get alerts whenever we do go live. Check out what we have up on the site today. We have free premium tools and data up almost every day. Today we have our NBA main slate, ownership projections, and our NHL top stacks. So if you hear us talk about line ownership percentage or top stack percentage or top 2 percentage or anything like that, you can check it out for yourself over at awesemo.com and look at our top stacks. We have a giveaway for our podcast. Just head on over to the Awesemo podcast channel below. Give us a 5-star review with your Twitter handle or Awesemo username, and you'll be entered to win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. All right. We do have a 4-game slate we have to get to. So let's get to this first game here, Josh. We have Detroit with a 2.4 implied goal total going into Minnesota. The Minnesota Wild have a 3.7 implied goal total. Marcus Foligno, he's still suspended for this one. They moved Brandon Duhaime up to the third line. That's important here because I looked at their last game and Minnesota did not use the Joel Eriksson Ek line in a shutdown role, which they almost always do at home. And I think it's because Marcus Foligno is suspended. That line's not nearly as good without him. And I think that might change the matching here tonight a little bit. It might send out the Detroit top line or the Minnesota top line against the Detroit top line, or at the very least, opposing top sixes are looked to be facing off against each other. So that's a bit of a change for Minnesota. They're also going to be without Matt Dumba. He has, I think they said, a lower body injury, so he's going to be out for tonight. Presumably that means a lot of ice time for Spurgeon and Brodin. Might be stuff to play on both sides here, but it's only a 2.4 total for Detroit. What do you like here, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, it is Capo Kakinen for the Wild, which I don't know if, like, Talbot hasn't been great this season either. So, you know, I think the Wild are just searching for one of their goalies to be a little consistent. But, I mean, from a Wild perspective, from their skaters, like, matchups don't really matter in this game. I don't think. Like, you're going to send Joe Eriksson against Dylan Larkin. Okay. You're going to send Hartman out against Dylan Larkin. Sure. Like, Boldy was probably going to, or Gaudreau, Fiala, Boldy are probably going to go out against Pia Suter, Fabry, Bertuzzi, regardless of who the top line matches. So, you know, you're probably going to see 2v2. If it is 1v1, that's fine. You know what I mean? Minnesota won. One of my favorite plays. Like, they're coming in as the highest positive leverage in our top stacks right now. And just because, like, they're similarly priced to Toronto. So you're going to have to make a decision. You know, you want to go Toronto or you want to go Minnesota. And I think just from a leverage standpoint, like, matchup wise, I think I'm going to go to the lower owned team at home in Minnesota 1. I think Minnesota 2 is fine as well. It is a little bit of a tougher matchup, but, you know, the Fiala Gaudreau Boldy line has been excellent since they got put together. If you want to go down to Joel Eriksson Ek, you know, whether he gets Larkin, whether he gets Adam Ernie, I think it doesn't really matter. You want to use him as a one-off, or you want to, you know, put him in a power play stack. I think that's fine. But from a Minnesota standpoint, this is a min 1 game for me. You want to leave off Hartman, add in, you know, Joe Eriksson Ek to get a little spicy on this 4-gamer, sure, you can do that. But for me, min 1. On the Detroit side, you know, I don't think I'm going to prioritize anything in 1 to 3, but I will say if I was 20 maxing, I would probably consider Detroit 2 here. I probably would consider Detroit 1, 2, but, you know, 20 lineups, I probably just said, you know, like, even one of 20 lineups for both Detroit 1 and 2 will get you over the field here. Suter, Fabry, Bertuzzi is a good line. They're probably, I don't want to say probably with Duhaime there instead of Foligno, but like Gaudreau, Fiala, Boldy's probably the best matchup you can get for Minnesota besides the fourth line. So, in MME, I'd probably have some Detroit 1, Detroit 2, but this is a Minnesota game for me.
Yeah, I think, it's both of the top 6 that really interest me here, or both top lines in the top 6 for Minnesota that interest me here. Sorry. To start with the Minnesota top line, as you mentioned, the best leverage on the slate of all our stacks. Again, top stacks are free up at awesemo.com for today. So you can just head on over and check it out for yourself. Coming in with 25% top 2 percentage, 15% ownership. I really do like Minnesota 1 here tonight. We brought it up on the show on Saturday. The numbers at home and on the road make a difference here because at home, they're typically not used as a shutdown line. Tonight they might be, but like honestly, going into that Larkin line, it's not a brutal matchup, right? Like it's not like you're going into Toronto 1 or Boston 1 or something like that. That Detroit top line, good early returns, but they've only had like 30 minutes or so together. It's way too early to say whether they're actually going to be good or not. So Minnesota 1 should definitely be in strong consideration. But it is Minnesota 2 that's just kind of driving me here. I'll say it's because of this reason. I think I'm going to go single entry here tonight. And I'm looking to use Minnesota more as my filler than my primary stack. That's just kind of why I'm going towards Minnesota 2. And Minnesota 2 has been great. 67 shot attempts per 60 minutes over the last 100 minutes. 3.2 expected goals, controlling 61% of the expected goals when they're on the ice. They've been very, very good. Detroit 2, they were really, really strong starting out. Their last 100 minutes or so, they're about a break-even line by shot share and expected goal share. So I think Detroit 2 can get there, and in 20 maxes, I would absolutely consider them as a filler. They're one of the best leverage spots on this entire slate. Don't forget about Detroit 2, but I think it'll be Minnesota 2 that I use that I consider more in my single entries. Especially with Boldy being a fixture of the top power play. Detroit, good penalty kill. But those top power play minutes are obviously very, very valuable. So I do like Minnesota 2 here tonight. Again, on the Detroit side, I think Detroit 2 is fine. Definitely consideration as a filler in your 20 max 150s and all that. I'm not sure I would get there in 1 to 3, but they do have good leverage. It is at least a decent scoring line. Minnesota doesn't have a great penalty kill. There are 2 guys on that Detroit second line on the Detroit power play. So yeah, they do have to at least be in consideration. I don't know if I get to Detroit 1, but Detroit 2, most certainly. On the blue line, I mentioned Spurgeon and Brodin probably should see a lot of minutes here with Matt Dumba not playing tonight. Spurgeon is the top power play guy. Brodin, the second power play guy. I don't know. I think Alex Goligoski is also fine if you want to just, save $1,000 or whatever over on DraftKings. Anybody else stick out to you?
Yeah, it's just Spurgeon, Brodin, Goligoski. Pick your guy. Go with it. On the Detroit side, like Cedar at 6,300 is a little bit too expensive for me. Troy Stetcher at min price, I guess. If you need a min price punt, Troy Stetcher, but I don't think I'm going to prioritize anything on the wings.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot for me there. I we'll talk about goalies later. I don't think I'd mind Nedeljkovic in GPPs. He's reasonably cheap, should see some decent volume, but he could also get lit up here tonight, and that is kind of the double-edged sword with playing a rogue goalie that is favored or expected to lose. With Daytona right around the corner, we are offering our Awesemo Plus NASCAR package for less than $2 per cup race this season. That's $70 for a full year of Awesemo Plus NASCAR. This pass gives you access to our driver projections, our ownership projections, our top drivers, and it'll give you the edge you need in NASCAR DFS. Use the promo code GREENFLAG. That's capital letters, green flag, all one word, at checkout, or simply click the link in the description of this video to activate. This offer is valid through February 20th. I'm going to have to start researching some Daytona soon here, Josh. I know People have been racking up those tickets for a couple months now. I've got a few. I'm sure you have a few. Not a bad. You and I have access to the Awesemo tools. Obviously, not everybody does. Not a bad idea to look into using the promo code Green Flag. If you got a bunch of those tickets burning a hole in your pocket, it's only $70 for the entire season, and it'll give you a head start on your research for Daytona this weekend. So Green Flag, all capital letters, all one word at the checkout. All right, let's get to our next game. Chicago, 2.5 implied goal total. They're going into Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets have a 3.1 implied goal total. Some news here, Neil Pionk, still not in the lineup for Winnipeg. They're saying Ville Heinola is going to take some secondary power play minutes. So it looks like Josh Morrissey, power play 1, Ville Heinola, power play 2. Chicago looks like they're healthy scratching Philip Kurashev and dressing Brett Connolly. I don't get it, but I guess they're just kind of mashing buttons at this point in the season. Might be more to like here, but Chicago still doesn't have a very high total. I'm also surprised Winnipeg doesn't have a very high total either, but maybe something to like on both sides because of it. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Connor's price came down. He was like 8,700 this weekend. He's 7,500 today. Like Winnipeg 1 super cheap. Winnipeg 2 like not nearly as expensive as they were. Didn't they change up their matching at home, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, so they're not sending the Winnipeg top line out. They're not sending Scheifele and Wheeler out against top competition, or they haven't been recently. It's been more the third line going out against the top line, and then they'll send out Connor and Dubois against the second line and leave Scheifele and Wheeler against the bottom 6.
No,
I know.
We
gotta consider Scheifele and Wheeler again.
Yeah, 10-4 for the two of them. You know, get my dusters out, dust off Blake Wheeler tonight. Maybe like he's coming off like a 57-point DK game. He's 4,600. Going to get the depth of Chicago. Bad penalty kill. You know what I mean? Like, so, Winnipeg 1 definitely in play for me. You want to leave Stastny off. You want to put on, a Connor to make it expensive and maybe a bit unique. That's fine. You want to add in Dubois. You want to do Scheifele, Wheeler, Morrissey. I mean, I'm fine with the power play stack. I'm fine with Winnipeg 1. I'm fine with Winnipeg 2. I think, I just don't like using the Jets 5-on-5. I know it's a good matchup. Scheifele, Wheeler, Stastny in a large sample still barely break even. So, I mean, I don't really play the Jets for 5-on-5. So I think for me, I'll do some sort of power play stack. On the Hawks side, like, I don't know, just not super interested in using the Hawks. That second line is still really, really cheap. But Connor Dubois, pretty not great matchup. But I mean, like, are the Hawks ever in a good matchup 5-on-5? Like, not really. So I mean, if in M, I don't think I'm gonna get to them in 1-3. But if you want to do something on the Hawks, I think you want to use that top line going up against Winnipeg 3. I think that's fine. You want to use Chicago 2. I think that's fine. I think it was you. Yeah, it was you who mentioned it to us this morning that since Christmas, the Jets penalty kill has been really, really good. It's been in the top 10. So, if you want to power play stack the Hawks, it's fine, but it's not the same awful Jets penalty kill since Christmas.
Yeah, that's one of my notes here is that, I mean, it seems like it's been the case for like 5 years now that Winnipeg has had like a bottom 5 penalty kill in the league. But yes, it's Christmas, top 10. I mean, and Paul Maurice, he resigned from the team in like the middle of December or something like that, right? So, I mean, maybe it was just that they needed new coach, new tactics or something like that. I could definitely see that being the case here. So I'm not sure it's a great power play matchup for Chicago. I'm pretty sure it's a good power play matchup for Winnipeg. And the fact that Josh Morrissey is only 4K, like it's not often you can get a power play 1 defenseman at 4K. It's basically like Nick Leddy and like Chris Weidman. That's basically been it for the last few years. So Morrissey at 4K on the top power play unit Like you said, the prices have come down, but it makes them, it lowers the average cost per player on that stack. If you want to stack the Winnipeg power play, and you would want to stack the Winnipeg power play because, the Chicago penalty kill is very bad. Bottom 3 by shot attempts allowed over the last 6 weeks. So I do like the Winnipeg power play spot here. It allows us to get creative with our stacks too, right? Because it is a 4-game slate. You might be worried about a cookie cutter 4-3-1 or a 3-3 stack or something like that. So if you're worried about that, you can power play stack Winnipeg here in whichever manner you want. And I think that's just fine. You can even use all 5 if you want. I think it's just fine. So I really do like the Winnipeg top 6 here. I like the second line more. I know what we're saying about Scheifele and Wheeler getting the depth matchups, but I swear I would rather just take a very good line in a tougher matchup than a bad line in a better matchup. That's just
like putting lipstick on a pig. You know what I mean? It's still pig.
Exactly. Like the players still have to play well when they're on the ice. Like it's kind of important here. So Dubois and Connor both been great. Like both top 3 on the team in expected goals since Christmas, whereas nobody on the top line is in the top 3 on the team in expected goals since Christmas. So I do like the second line a lot better. But if you want to throw in, Dubois, Connor plus Scheifele, or Dubois, Connor plus Wheeler, or, Dubois, Scheifele, Wheeler, whatever, all those are perfectly fine to me. On the Chicago side, honestly, man, like I think the best we can do is probably the second line of Hagel, Doc, DeBrincat. You brought it up to me before the show that, they don't have a big sample yet. It's just a little over 30 minutes, I think, but they have been good in a small sample. I mean, if they have a good few games together, that's a lot more than what most Chicago lines have done this season. So yeah, if you're 20 maxing or something like that, I can definitely see, even a DeBrincat Hagel 2-man, because they do have those power play minutes together. I think that's where I would go with on the Chicago side. I think the second line, it's theoretically a tougher matchup going into Winnipeg too, but Winnipeg too can get into those kind of, boat races going up and down the ice back and forth. So I think it's both second lines that I really like in this game. You can power play stack Winnipeg if you want. Josh Morrissey, obviously don't mind him on the blue line for 4K, especially if you're power play stacking. I noticed Calvin DeHaan has 25 blocks in his last 5 games.
Yeah,
the guy's just throwing his body in front of everything. I don't know if I think 3,300 is fine, I guess. I would probably rather play Connor Murphy. Anybody else stick out to you?
Yeah, either those guys are fine in Chicago. You want to play Jake McCabe? Sure. Do you want to go up to Seth Jones if you're doing Chicago stuff? Go for it. Morrissey, 4K. If you're doing anything with the Winnipeg, power play, you got to, at that price, you put him in. Billy Heinola maybe at min price, because he's going to get that secondary power play, sure. Brendan Dillon, if you want a little shot blocker with Hellebuck, if you're going that route, sure. But, Morrissey or Calvin DeHaan, Connor Murphy are my guys.
Yeah, Heinola's one of those guys, I'm just waiting for him to start to get more minutes. I'm kind of thankful that Paul Maurice, I don't want him to, leave his job and leave his passion or anything, but it was pretty clear he doesn't like the young players as much as the new coach does. So glad to see Heinola in the lineup and getting some time. I don't mind him for a min price either, I suppose. What do you think about Winnipeg in general this season? They seem to be a very up and down team. I don't know if they can really do anything unless Nick Ehlers gets back and healthy.
Yeah, I just they're a good team. But even if they make the playoffs, are they beating Vegas? Are they beating Calgary? Are they beating Colorado? You know what I mean? So maybe they can maybe they can win a playoff round if they get the Ducks or something in the first round. You know what I mean? A cup run, I don't know. And I just don't know because Scheifele's getting older. Wheeler, his wheels are falling off. You know what I mean? They have a good Cole Perfetti is going to be good. They're just kind of they kind of, maybe not this year, but probably next year, they're going to have to make a choice. It's we're either going to go for this again, or we need to start, building around our younger players and get rid of, some of our stalwarts.
it seems like they've been spinning their tires. I want to say ever since Dustin Byfuglien retired. I think that really hurt that team. He was like a sure number one defenseman that you could stick out there for 23, 24 minutes. And they honestly haven't replaced him since. Pionk is good. Morrissey is good. Schmidt is good, but they haven't been able to replace Byfuglien. And I think that they want to try to surround the team, because if he was there, they might be good enough. They don't want to give up on them yet. But yeah, I agree with you. Like after this year, Scheifele and Wheeler only have 2 more years left, and Scheifele's going to be in his 30s by the end of this contract. So, that's a good point, man. Maybe this summer they start, tugging at the threads and seeing if this thing unravels a little bit. So, never know what could happen with Winnipeg. Hopefully their second line comes through for us here tonight. We have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NHL season to bring you some great offers. Check out our exclusive limited time offer, which gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo. Sign up for an account via the link below, deposit and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your first name after you've played in your first paid contest, and we will reach out via email with your coupon. If you'd like to speed up the process of getting access, email support@awesemo.com. We'll get you set up right away. You can also claim a free $10 of site credit by clicking the link in the video description below, and that can be used to enter any Yahoo contest, including tonight's $2,000 NHL Baller. Make sure to use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot at winning big. Josh, I forgot to ask you, did you watch I know you didn't watch the Super Bowl. Did you watch the halftime performance at all today?
I did. I caught it on YouTube. Yeah.
I think the thing that stuck out to me the most was the fact that somebody said on Twitter, eventually you get to the point where the Super Bowl halftime show is geared directly for you. And at that point, you're starting to get old.
Yep.
I popped last night at one specific part when Dr. Dre started playing the piano and he started playing the intro for I Ain't Mad at You by Tupac. And I absolutely popped for that. And then that made me realize that I am in the perfect target demo for the people that I made fun of 10 years ago. I'm not sure how to feel about that. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I saw a tweet about it. It was like, the boomers were like, who are these people? And then like all the new, like the younger kids are like, who are these people? And like guys in our mid-30s like, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's just like, if you're going for the 30 to 49 demographic, they hit the home run on that one.
Like, I'm not sure you could have picked any better representatives for that specific demographic. The 30 to 49-year-old demographic was just like, I don't know, maybe if you had like Pearl Jam like do the guitar intro or something like that, that would have been about it. But oh man, what a great performance. Was pretty awesome to see. It's one of those things, like, it's just nice to see the people that reach that stature. That meant a lot to a lot of people just on stage. Like, maybe we'll never see them again on stage together. It's that type of thing. So yeah, really super cool to see Dre and Mary J and Kendrick and M and all those.
Definitely better than that guy from Maroon 5 taking his shirt off and making me feel bad about myself. So
yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe that's one of the performances I just forgot about. Like, there's only like 5 I remember, and I think thankfully I just kind of pushed them all out of my brain. All right, let's get to this next game. Toronto 3.5 implied goal total. They're going into Seattle. The Seattle Kraken have a 2.5 implied goal total. There have been some changes to the Kraken lineups of late. One note is that Alex Wennberg jumped to the top line with Jared McCann and Jordan Eberle. Yeah, I think it was in their last game. Now, that's not super new to this. Wennberg, remember, was on the top line to start the season back when Jaden Schwartz was still around. So it's not as if Wennberg and Eberle have absolutely no sample together. They have played together quite a bit this season, just not so much since Christmas. Vince Dunn looks like he got shoved off the top power play unit by Mark Giordano again. Vince Dunn lasted a whopping 1 game with top power play minutes. I kind of get it. It seems like, I think the trade deadline's about 4 weeks away. 4 or 5 weeks. So, they're probably just trying to pump up Mark Giordano's trade value. But man, it's just frustrating knowing they know Vince Dunn should probably be running that top power play unit, but he's just not. On the Toronto side, doesn't seem to be too much in the way of news that we need to worry about here. Jack Campbell, I believe, is starting for Toronto here tonight. That's interesting to me because he has struggled a lot since Christmas. There was a reason why Peter Mrazek started the last game. Why don't you tell us what you like in this game, Josh?
Yeah, first of all, I'm not sure if the Seattle front office knows they can make trades. If they knew they can make trades, they would have a much better roster. They could have had Tarasenko for free. They're like, nah, take Vinny Dunn, who's fine if you put him on the top power play unit. You throw him on the third pair on the second power play. What are you doing? If you're going to do that with Vinny Dunn, take Tarasenko. The front office, they hired all these, I'm getting riled up, but they're hiring all these analytic guys. And they're not listening to them. So, whatever. Go drink your coffee in the rain. But anyway,
I didn't think you get so fired up over an expansion team.
It's just I don't know. They did such a horrible job compared to what Vegas did. I think maybe it's because Vegas did an unbelievable job, but Seattle just did absolutely nothing in the expansion draft. They made no trades. And their roster is pretty good, but they've just been underperforming all season. So I don't know. Maybe it's just I got a case of the Mondays. But anyway, it's a Leafs night. Matthews' price came down, which makes Mitch Marner's price at $7K a little bit easier to swallow. They've been Seattle's been sending out Yarncroc, Gord, Appleton against top comp, and that line just has not been good defensively. So I really do like the Leafs top line tonight. I really like the Leafs second line. They're so cheap compared to what they were a few weeks ago. Tavares 6,500, Nylander 5,600. They're both in the mid sevens not too long ago, and there's not a matchup that worries me on Seattle. So, you want to go to that second line to save a little bit of dinero. I think that's fine. They'll probably come in as equally owned as the top line just because of the price difference. So, I think to get a little bit different with Toronto 1, you just leave on Bunting. To get a little bit different with Toronto 2, leave off Kerfoot and put in, a power play guy. You know what I mean? So there's easy ways to get different on a 4-gamer. Just, you don't have to galaxy brain it. I mean, you can. You certainly can. I've done it before, but you don't have to get super crazy to get a little bit different in these chalky spots tonight. On the Seattle side, I kind of want to get behind Seattle just because Campbell has been rough, really, really bad since Christmas. And the Leafs blue line is, it's not the best, it's not the worst. But these lines, man, there's just nothing that I really want to go out of my way to play. Maybe Donato, Geeky, Cesarnik for you don't have to full stack them, obviously. You take 2 of them to get in, really expensive power play. I don't know. Just McCann Eberle has been such a letdown this season. Yarncroc, Gord going into the teeth of Matthews. So maybe I'll just go cheap with Donato and Geeky, or Geeky and Cesarnik, Donato, something like that. If I'm going to power play stack the Wild or the Leafs even, or whoever, the Jets, that's a cheap 2-man. I think I can get behind from Seattle just because, Donato shoots the puck a bunch. Campbell's been shaky. The blue line isn't great. So I wish there was a line on Seattle that had a good numbers in their sample, but there just isn't. So it's just hard to get behind anything on Seattle.
That's the problem here, especially with Wenberg back on the top line. Like I mentioned, Wenberg and Eberle did play a fair bit together earlier in the season with Jaden Schwartz, and they were about a 50% line. A 50% line is fine if it's a third line. It's not fine if it's your top line. That's the big problem here. And, Wenberg and McCann, they haven't played a lot, about 40 minutes together, and they haven't looked very good in those 40 minutes, or at least their numbers don't look very good in those 40 minutes. So you take Wenberg and Eberle, who were average, and then add in Wenberg and McCann, who were bad. Like, I don't like the way that this looks. So I'm wondering how this works out, because Seattle's been weird with their matching. Like, they tried to use the Gord Yarncrog duo as a shutdown duo a lot this year, and that line just hasn't come together at all. They've just been bad, like basically from minute one right up until today. They just haven't improved at all. Since Christmas, 47% of the shot share for Seattle 2, 35% of the scoring chance share. That is abysmal. And that's the line that quite often got used as a shutdown line. It seems like they've started to get away from that over the last 5 or 6 games, but you're going to the McCann Eberle line now as your shutdown line. So you have one line that's playing anywhere close to reasonably well. That's your top line, and you're sending them into Matthews and Marner. Like, I understand why they have to do that, and it's because no other Seattle line can come close to containing them. But I also think Matthews and Marner are just absolutely going to, like, Matthews and Marner have been generating 44 scoring chances per 60 minutes over their last 100 minutes. That is absolutely insane. That's a low grade power play. Like, I really think Toronto 1 is in a great spot here. Like you said, I think you just leave in Michael Bunting. I really do. I like, Seattle has a bad enough penalty kill. I think you can even get away with just like Toronto 1 plus Nylander, Toronto 1 plus Tavares or something like that. Just full stack the power play if you want. It's not as if Seattle's penalty kill has been any good. Seattle's penalty kill, like bottom 10 of the league, certainly bottom 10 over the last 6 weeks. Not really what you want when you're facing this Toronto power play. The Toronto power play still scoring, 8, 9, 10 goals per 60 minutes, which is very good. So I agree with you. I do like the Toronto power play here. As a full line stack, I would go Toronto 1 over Toronto 2. I think either are fine, but I prefer Toronto 1. Their numbers are better. And I want to get, Matthews price has come down, and like, it seems like he's a near auto lock at 9,100. I don't think any player is an auto lock, but
he was 9,700 in a pretty tough matchup. Now he's $600 cheaper in a cupcake matchup. So I don't know. DraftKings pricing has been odd this year. Like, we'll get it to in the next game. Like, there's just misprices all over that game.
Yeah, the next game has a lot of weird pricing, but yeah, like I said, it seems like they took some price off Matthews and just added it to Marner's,
which is fine.
Yeah, I'll take it. So yeah, for me, it's Toronto 1. On the Seattle side, like, if you want to get to some Seattle 1, I wouldn't say no. Their top 2 stack is coming in at about 6%. Their ownership coming in at about 3 to 4%. It's only $13K for the line over on DraftKings. I think Seattle 1 is definitely playable here in your 20 maxes, your 150s, and all that. Especially with the way Campbell has been playing the last month or so. So the more lineups you get, I would trend a little bit towards Seattle 1, but I do like Toronto 1, Toronto power play in this game. On the blue line, Rasmus Sandin has been playing more minutes of late. He's been playing like 19, 20 with relative consistency of late. And his impacts, like, I looked at Evolving Hockey and looked at his offensive impacts. They're through the roof this year. I kind of like Rasmus Sandin now that he's getting some more minutes. Obviously, Morgan Riley at 5,400, just fine. If you're playing some power play. Anybody else stick out to you?
Yeah, I mean, Jake Muzzin, 2,700, so he's going to stick out. If you want to play him, that's fine. On the Seattle side, I think it's just going to be either Hayden Fleury or the big rake contractual obligation to mention Jamie Oleksiak, my son. I think I just read off my whole resume, but that's fine. Like, 2,600 for him is fine. Hayden Fleury, second pair. Like, Hayden Fleury, we saw what happened when he went and actually got minutes in Anaheim. So hopefully he gets some consistent minutes.
It's just, again, one of those guys that should be getting consistent minutes that just isn't for this team.
Besides the Seattle front office, I mean, it is the Seattle's front office fault, but like, Dave Haxtell, not the coach for this team. Like, I like Dave Haxtell, but like, he should not be a head coach of this team. He should be running like an offensive unit or defensive unit behind someone who knows how to coach a team.
Yeah. I was surprised they, maybe Claude Julien. He's still out there. I think he would be a very good coach for that Seattle team. We're not here to talk coaches, though. For now, I'm here to talk about the Awesemo Hall of Fame. The Awesemo Hall of Fame is where we like to celebrate the winners across all sports here at Awesemo.com. And if you want to get into the Awesemo Hall of Fame, this is how you do it. You download the Awesemo avatar from awesemo.com/avatar. You place in the top 3 of a contest with at least 5,000 contestants, and then you tweet those wins to the Awesemo HOF account. That's Awesemo HOF on Twitter. You do all that, you can win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, but you can only win 1 free month per year. So even if you keep winning in those contests, you can still only win 1 free month every calendar year. We had some winners, I believe, yesterday from the Super Bowl. Tied for first in the FanDuel Million, Philly Shizzy took down 11K, had Cooper Kupp as his captain, Matt Stafford, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, and Hopkins as his flexes. Attaboy, Philly. Hippie Bull, NFL Showdown longtime subscriber, username Black John Madden with the hit in multiple contests. You see him entered $20, cashed out over $1,500. Just a great day from him. Another chop looks like over on Yahoo with Cooper Kupp as captain, $662. Obviously, if you chop with a bunch of people, you're going to win less, but first place is still first place. The machine also split first place in FanDuel with that 11K hit. So awesome job to you guys. And a little bit of basketball. Justin Tope, for good measure, taking down first and third, looks like over on Yahoo. So a bunch of winners yesterday in the Super Bowl. Congrats to you guys. Hopefully we can get some winners tonight in some NHL. All right, Josh, we got 1 game left. We're going to get to that. Before we do, just want to remind everybody that we have some shows coming up a little bit later. We have the Prize Picks NBA show at 4 p.m. Eastern with Aton and EMAC, and they're followed by the NBA Prop Show. That is followed by your NBA Double Dose starting at 5 o'clock Eastern of the Deeper Dive and your live before lock. Also want to remind everybody, we are sponsored by Yahoo Fantasy. So if you've never played on Yahoo and you want to get your feet wet playing DFS, they're giving away some free money for first-time Yahoo users. So please just click the link in the description below. And before we get too much further, if you guys could just throw us a thumbs up and a subscribe before we do get out of here. Those subscriptions really do help us a lot and help these shows coming on a regular basis. All right, let's get to this last game. And as Josh mentioned, the pricing here is just absolutely bananas. Edmonton, 3.3 implied goal total. They're going into San Jose. The Sharks have a 2.8 implied goal total. I should mention this pricing is on DraftKings, not on FanDuel. On FanDuel, Timo Meyer and those guys are still very expensive. But over on DraftKings, you have Zach Hyman under 4K. You have Jesse Puljujarvi, who was top line, top power play minutes, coming in at 3,500. Draisaitl is at $8,000, which I think is the cheapest he's been since the 2019-20 season. Connor McDavid at 8,800 is certainly the cheapest he's been in a few months this season, sorry. Both Darnell Nurse and Evan Bouchard are under $6,000. We've seen Darnell Nurse at like 7,200 before. I think the 7,200 was a mispricing, but I also think 5,900 is pretty close to a mispricing as well. All this is to say, and on the San Jose side, Brent Burns, 4,900 with Erik Karlsson still hurt and Burns running the top power play unit. Burns could easily be one of the highest owned players on the entire slate. Timo Meyer, $6,500. Just flat out one of the best goal scorers in the league this year. Logan Couture, $3,500. That reminds me of when Sean Monahan was like 3,300 on FanDuel for an entire season one year. Obviously something went wrong here with DraftKings. I don't know what's going on, but it is going to drive a ton of ownership to this game. I think the San Jose side specifically. What are you doing here, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing a single entry tonight. I think Sharks top line is one of the easier fades of the night. If it come down to it at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, they come out and just light it up, you can just go to bed a little bit early. but at, they're currently projected for around 30%. If, I just can't do it. Like, listen, if you want to do it, by all means do it. Like McDavid, Puljujarvi, Hyman are a good line, but they're high event. If I'm going to go to somewhere on the Sharks, it's going to be the second line. I mean, this is a really small sample, but like Kane, Draisaitl, Yamamoto have played 2 games together. 2 games. 20 high danger chances for per 60. 55% Corsi for, and an expected goals for of 4, which sounds like electric. And it is for offensively. But defensively, they're giving up 40 scoring chances for, 18 high danger chances against, and 3.95 expected goals per 60. Like this, that's just like, if those numbers stick through like 50, 60 minutes, that is the most high event line in the NHL. And yeah, the Couture Dahlin numbers aren't great. They're like a break even at best, but like getting that line, getting Mike Smith, getting the poor Edmonton defense, getting those 2 for 6,100. Yeah, they're probably going to be over leveraged, but like they're going to be a third of the ownership as Hertl Meyer. So like if you're going to go to a Sharks line, I think it's going to be that second line. And I don't know if I prioritize them outside of like power play stack. Like if I was going to power play stack the Jets, I'd maybe do like Couture Dahlin, just because like it doesn't matter what Couture is going to be there. Like chances are you full power play stacking the Jets is going to be enough to get yourself different. You know what I mean? So even if Couture Dahlin come around 10%, I'm fine with it. It's just an insanely good matchup. You want to go to that top line, it's still a good matchup, but listen, like 30% on the Sharks, who haven't played in 2 weeks. Like that is a big red flag for me, because we've seen these teams come back from these long breaks and just get absolutely run over. So like, I don't know. And then on the flip side, like of all these like mispricings, like 16,200 for full Edmonton 1 in their best iteration of non-McDavid Draisaitl lines. Like Hyman, McDavid, Puljujarvi is their best line they can make without Draisaitl being on that line. So, Hertl Meyer, that line is good offensively, but man, they're high event defensively as well. So out of this game, I really, really love Edmonton 1. You want to go to Edmonton 2, sure, but like I'm going to focus on McDavid, Puljujarvi. You want to add in Draisaitl, it's cheap enough where you can do it pretty easily. So, Edmonton 1, Edmonton power play. You want to play Sharks 1, just know you're probably going to have to get a little funky there. But, for me, if I'm power play stacking something, I'll probably go for the cheap 2-minute Couture Dahlin.
Yeah, it's the Edmonton top line that absolutely drew me first. They've played about 50 minutes together, or in their last 50 minutes together, basically since Christmas. They're controlling 58% of the shots and 66% of the scoring chances, 3.2, but they're shooting 3.2%. The whole problem is it's just percentage driven. It's not their play. So, and San Jose's like, I wonder how San Jose is really going to go with this matching. Like I imagine Couture is going to see a fair bit of that McDavid matchup, and like that favors Edmonton greatly. I don't think Couture Dahlin, like you said, a break-even line, maybe 50%, but 50% is not good enough against this particular iteration of Edmonton 1. So I do like Edmonton 1 here. I think you can just, the 3 of them, and then if you want to add in Bouchard for power play or Draisaitl for power play or something like that, I think it's just fine. I'd rather play Edmonton 1, but I will say Edmonton 2, pretty high pace in their small sample. And if you believe in revenge, Evander Kane on the second line for Edmonton, his first game going back into San Jose, there's bad blood here.
There's a big old house on Narrative Street.
Yeah, his ex-teammates do not like him. If you know hockey players and the way that they talk in the media, they try to be as polite as possible when they talk about teammates and stuff like that. And you can almost feel them just dripping with rage when they talk about Evander Kane and what happened there towards the end of his tenure. So I think we might see some power plays. I don't know what's going to happen in this game, but Evander Kane certainly has that revenge narrative working in his favor. But I say in my single entry, I am fading that San Jose ownership on the top line. I do like Edmonton 1 here on this slate. On the blue line, obviously Burns. Like, honestly, with the prices here, like if you want to dump all the way down and play Mario Ferraro for 3K or something like that, I think it's fine. But I think I would honestly just play one of Nurse, Bouchard, or Burns if I play a defenseman from this game.
Yeah, man, like that price on Burns is insane, but like at the same time, like he just hasn't been great either. But like 4,900, just man, like there is nothing worse than a few seasons ago going, oh man, I'm in a really good spot, but I am fading Burns. And it's just like, I don't know, man. 4,900, that's gonna be a tough one to fade. But yeah, I think Nurse Bouchard definitely make a really good play tonight.
Yeah, I think it might depend on the rest of my lineup, but I think I might be just fine playing like a 30% Burns tonight. As long as I'm not playing San Jose 1, Toronto 1, something like that. You know what I mean? Like that'll probably be Duke, but I like I said, even a 49%, 30% Burns at 4,900, I think is just fine, depending on what you do with the rest of your lineup. All right, we got to get out of here. Josh, I'm going to ask you for your hat trick picks and your goalies for tonight. My hat trick pick, I'm going Matthew Boldy, and my goalies are Capo Kakinen and Marc-Andre Fleury for tournaments. What do you like?
Pretty spicy. We'll love to see it. I think Hellebuck is an interesting GPP play or even cash play. I think he's in the mix. Ned, if you want to get a little feisty. Let's see here. Go Jesse Puljujarvi.
Ooh, I like that. All right, there we go. Matthew Boldy, Jesse Puljujarvi are your hat trick picks for tonight. We're going to get out of here. Don't forget, we have a bunch of NBA shows coming up starting in 1 hour. For producer Mike, for Josh, I'm Slim Cliffy saying good luck tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.